Coming up this Thursday, August 1st at 7 p.m. at St. Andrews River Heights United Church, there will be a fabulous concert that features music for Woodwind Quintet. The Winnipeg-based Canadian Bacon Wind Quintet will be performing a terrific program of music written almost entirely by Canadian composers. Composers such as John Astasio and Elizabeth Rahm will be heard, as well as two premiere performances of music by Montreal-based composer Alexandra Foll and Winnipeg composer and clarinetist Chris Byman. This is going to be a fantastic concert that features some of Winnipeg's best wind players. And joining me here in the Classic 107 studio, I am joined by the Bacon in the Canadian Bacon Wind Quintet, flute player and one of the founders of the quintet, Charmaine Bacon. Hey, Charmaine, nice to see you and nice to have you here.
You too.
I first want to talk about how the quintet got started. Can you talk about how and why the quintet was founded and who's in the group now?
Well, the group was founded back in 2016. I put it together with friends of mine, mostly from school and the community, who I just liked spending time with. The original reason behind it is because we wanted more orchestral experience, and there wasn't a ton to be had. So we thought, let's put together a quintet, and we'll, learn how to play together. So that was the premise of it. We have most of the original members in the group, and we actually put together two quintets. So we have a couple members on each instrument, so we always have people ready to go for gigs. So the primary quintet you'll hear on Thursday is Colin Mamel on clarinet, Ken Peltier on oboe, both original members of the group. Colin's wife, Callie Siverson, who's also a horn in the symphony, is joining us, who's now a regular with us. And finally on bassoon, Dr. Scott Miller, who is, I say new to town. He's been here for a few years, but he's one of our newer bassoonists, and we're so happy to have him.
Yeah, and his wife is an excellent oboe player as well.
Yes, yes.
Does the quintet have a mandate or mission? Like, what were you thinking when you started up the group? What was the goal?
Absolutely. Our goal is to explore standard repertoire so that we have learned how, to play all the good oldies, as well as play new stuff and have an opportunity to talk to composers to play their pieces, because there aren't a ton of woodwind quintets around. So
yeah, just to keep that
keep it going. Yeah.
So on Thursday, the quintet is playing almost all Canadian works, and one of the composers that you're going to be performing is music of John Astasio. I know he's writing, he wrote a piece for flute called Music on a Quiet Song. It's a beautiful, very lyrical. Can you talk about this piece and how did you discover it?
This is a really cool piece. When I was looking for music, the point of the program, being all Canadian, was for the tour that we're going on later this year, which we'll get back to. So when I saw Astasio's name, I went, I have to listen to this, because I played one of his pieces, originally for orchestra, arranged for wind band. And it was one of my favorite pieces when I played it. And only recently I discovered that piece was arranged by Dr. Linklater, who's here in Winnipeg.
Fraser.
So there's a Winnipeg connection. So thanks, Dr. L. But that piece just, I don't know, I love it so much. So I listened to the quintet piece and I went, this is really unique, this is fun, this is flashy. And it's pretty challenging. There are 4 movements in it, and it's really colorful. Like, I love his writing for winds, because it's not hard for the sake of being hard. It's just a really welcome challenge, and I think the audiences will find it really, really exciting.
Does it have a title, or is it just Wind Quintet by John Astasio?
Yes, it is called Sinfonietta for Woodwind Quintet. Yeah.
And how did you get the score? Did you get in touch with the Canadian Music Center?
Oh, yeah. So my contact, actually our original French horn player in the group, Irene Sass-Suggett, is now a manager at Long McQuaid, and she's my go-to to find music. So I immediately called her, and she has found everything. So she actually contacted the CMC, Canadian Music Center, and 3 of the pieces that we're playing, we got through them. And so they sent it along within a couple of weeks, brand new, fresh off the press, just for us.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So you've got the music of John Astasio, and then also on the program, you've got music written by longtime oboe player with the Regina Symphony Orchestra and faculty member at the University of Regina, Elizabeth Rahm. She writes so well for winds, as you would expect. Her husband is also a tuba player, so she understands wind writing. Can you talk about her piece? What's it called and what's it like?
Oh, this is a neat piece. So King Lear Fantasy. It was originally written as background music, I believe, and it was a Regina Symphony commission, I think. I'm still getting into that. But it was meant as background music. But it's really fun stuff. And so we're actually starting the program with it because we think it's really a really cool descriptive piece. What was interesting, I pulled out this piece, CMC printed it, fresh again, and I was filling the folders with music. And there was a sixth part, and it was for alto trombone. And I thought, oh no, what have I done? And it was for her husband originally to play and then rewritten for French horn. So I thought, oh, we're going to have to get a trombone in on this. Anyway, this is just a really cool descriptive piece for a play, which we will do on our own this one time.
And her writing is very fun. It's very capricious and very, very accessible. Yeah.
Yes.
Should be just great. And then one of the really exciting things is that the quintet is going to be premiering a new wind quintet written by Winnipegger Chris Byman. What can you tell us about his piece, and what is the significance of the title Sky Harbor?
Sky Harbor, well, he's into video games. And so this piece is also incredibly descriptive, and it's really fun. The quintet's been having fun getting into this. This piece started with a clarinet trio that Chris had written, I believe, for the birth of his niece. And then he transcribed it for our quintet as we were playing out in the community. And I said to him, hey, we should finish this. We should play this. And he got to work and he finished it earlier this summer for us. And we are loving it. So Chris says that the title is borrowed from the name of an airport in Phoenix.
Right.
And didn't you go to school in Phoenix?
Yes. Okay. I was wondering if that was a connection. Yeah, Sky Harbor Airport is the name of the airport in Phoenix and Tempe and surrounding areas.
Okay. So you know that. Yeah. And he was on vacation and he thought it would make a great name for a piece. And that was before this was written. So he named it after that. And then in his head, he was trying to picture a vibrant skyport filled with flying ships and sailing vessels of all sorts. So it's pretty cool. I think we'll hear that. So,
And then the quintet's also commissioned a work from Montreal-based composer Alexander Full. Can you talk about what the commissioning process was like? Did you get funding? How did that whole situation work?
Well, Alexander is a good friend of mine, and so we kind of have this incredible support from her. She came to Winnipeg a few years ago for the Cluster Festival, and she is an organist, just a fantastic pipe organist, and I was her assistant for this concert. So we got to know each other, and I've been out once or twice to visit her. And she wrote a piece for solo flute, which I went and played for her. I believe it was the Canadian premiere, and she said, you know, for doing all that work, I'm going to write you a super happy wind quintet. And so she did, and so we actually put our tour in September together for the sake of this piece, so we go and play it for her. She's in Montreal. And so it was kind of, you know, she wrote it for us. We're going to premiere it. We're going to go play it. It's more of a friends thing. But meanwhile, we've been able to drum up a lot of support for quintet writing, and we want to, you know, record it and do all these things. So it was a unique commissioning process. Can
you talk about some of the extra musicians that are going to be on stage with you? I mean, Alexander Full's piece, it's a double wind quintet, right?
Yes.
So you're going to need extra players. Who are the extra players?
We've got some awesome people. So Derek Stevenson is our other flute player, and he is with the Air Force in town. So he's actually originally from Regina and studied at U of T, and a friend of mine. He's just amazing to have on stage next to me. We've got Renz Adame, I hope I said his last name right. He has recently come back to Winnipeg. He's been playing with the Vancouver Symphony, and he's been playing a lot of principal oboe with the WSO this past year. So I ran into him and I said, hey, come play with us. Do you have an English horn? He said, yes. Okay, so he's playing a whole bunch of English horn, and it just sounds great. Chris Byman is playing with us for one of the pieces, and he is conducting us for the full.
Nice.
So he's playing triple duty in this concert. Alex Whitehead is our second clarinetist in the symphony, who's wonderful, also new to town. I believe this is his first year or entering second year. Kayla Scaramuzzi is a friend of mine who went to Brandon and is a band teacher and all sorts, just phenomenal community player. And Rachel Cote is a freelance horn player here and also subs in the symphony quite a bit. and just super lucky to have her. So wonderful people to join us for two pieces. The Inescu is also a dectet. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the setup. I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
You're playing the third movement. What is it about that final movement that you love? It's a great movement.
We would have done the whole thing if we could have. Because the point of this concert was to premiere these works and play a DWQ by full, we had the musicians. I thought we've got to use them, you know. So I sent out to the group, which movement would you like to do this summer, and we'll do the rest of it next summer. And the third one was just so much fun. So
perfect. So we've alluded to it earlier in the conversation. One of the exciting things about this concert is that you're going to take it on tour in September, the 27th through to the 29th. You're going to be in Montreal. How did the tour come about? And I mean, how did you arrange flights and hotels and the rest of it?
That's a great question. We're in the middle of that right now. So we've almost got all the flights booked. It was, again, Alexandra Foll's initiative of saying, hey, come to Montreal. And the entire group went, sure. And I was actually a little nervous to ask them because it's a long ways to go. And we had to make sure we could get all the instruments on the plane and all that stuff. So they all said yes. And so we've been applying for grants and booking those flights. We've had a lot of support from Montreal. So as soon as I said, yes, Canadian Bacon will come, Alexandra put in some requests for support from the community. And our concerts have been officially accepted by the Journée de la Culture in Montreal, which is part of their music and arts programming. That month. And we are also receiving support from Innovations, which is a company that helps out with concerts. So we've got just so much support from the community. So
it's going to be great.
Yeah.
The Canadian Bacon Wind Quintet concert this Thursday at St. Andrews River Heights United Church is going to be just awesome. How much is admission, and where can people get tickets, and where do the proceeds go?
Well, it is entry by donation, so you can just come right to the door. The proceeds go directly to St. Andrews. St. Andrews United has been a long-time supporter of the arts and making their space available to us, and they've just been such an incredible resource to me. They have a gorgeous grand piano on stage. I've done a number of concerts there. And so up until now, every time I have donations, they go to the music programming because they put on wonderful things there. So you can just come right to the door with some cash, and we'll take it there.
Yeah, and for our listeners, Virtuosi holds concerts at St. Andrews, and it's just a wonderful space to have a concert. Charmaine, this has been really great to see you again and catch up. The concert on Thursday at St. Andrews River Heights United Church at 7 p.m. is going to be super great and entertaining. Thanks so much for taking the time to stop by and talk to me today. It's been great.
Thanks, Chris.